Tiamat, fueled by vengeance and backed by her Chaos Alliance, Enlil, Ishtar, Uthrog, Drakkara, and Gorgon, launched a full-scale assault on the divine realm. They shattered Marduk's protective barriers one by one. Light, storm, earth, spirit, and healing. Giants cracked the sky, dragons hijacked storms, monsters corrupted the land, and the dead turned against their masters. At the gates of the celestial palace, Tiamat and her warlords confronted Marduk in a final push to destroy the heavens. But Marduk had prepared. From deep within his sanctuary, he unleashed the dark flame blaze, a primordial fire born from divine conflict. It consumed everything. Ishtar was incinerated in midair. Uthrog turned to ash. Drakkara fell from the sky. Gorgon was devoured by the earth itself. Even Enlil barely survived, burned and broken. Tiamat, though scorched, lived, but her army was annihilated. She and Enlil retreated into the underworld, defeated. Realizing the universe could no longer hold order and chaos together, Marduk made the ultimate decision. He split reality into three realms: heaven, earth, and the underworld, to isolate Tiamat and protect humanity. But chaos leaked through a rift before the divide was sealed. Demons, dragons, monsters, giants, and witches escaped into the mortal world. To guard against future threats, Marduk forged a new being, Ira, born from the fusion of the dark flame blaze and ancient Kailash ice. With him came the black iron horse and the blaze frost celestial sword, a weapon of ice and flame. Ira, neither god nor mortal, was created to maintain balance and defend mankind from divine and monstrous powers alike. The cosmos had been saved, but only by being broken. And now, as the rift still flickered in the dark, Ira stood ready, balance incarnate, riding into the unknown. The divine realm, land of endless light, seat of the gods, now trembled under the shadow of war. The city of spires shimmered, still radiant, but the sky above dimmed, as if even the heavens feared what was to come. At the heart of it all stood Marduk, the supreme god. He had ruled through peace and chaos, but this was different. Tiamat, the primordial chaos, had returned, and she wasn't alone. Tiamat, Ishtar, and Enlil, three ancient powers, had done the impossible. They united the most dangerous races under one banner, and that banner now pointed toward the city of the gods. The grand hall of Marduk's palace stood in celestial marble, with endless columns and divine light pulsing in the walls. A massive circular table anchored the space. The gods began to arrive one by one. Nabu entered first, silent and wise, scroll in hand. Shamash followed, radiant like the dawn, casting golden light. Nana was pale and serene, his face unreadable. Adad arrived like a living storm, lightning flickering in his eyes. Anu, elder and absolute, stepped forward, each footfall echoing with age. Ninurta came ready for war, spear in hand. Ereshkigal remained silent and cold as death. Dumuzi embodied life and fertility in human form. Ninmah stood maternal and watchful. Nanshi stayed quiet, already reading futures in her mind. Gula was calming and strong, her hands glowing with healing power. Zababa, forged of steel and fire, carried the weight of countless battles.
We are at the brink of war. Tiamat has returned. She has done what no one thought possible. United the giants, dragons, and monsters. She, Ishtar, and Enlil marched toward us. This isn't just a rebellion, it's an extinction event.
We've faced enemies before, but never like this. Her forces are vast, ancient, and fueled by rage. How do we survive this, Marduk?
With structure, with unity, with precision, we will defend this realm not as individuals, but as one body. We build rings of resistance, like a great tree, our roots deep, our core protected. Every god will anchor a layer.
The divine realm stood on the brink, and so Marduk, supreme god, unveiled his plan, not a wall, but 6 divine layers. Each formed by the gods themselves, each a force of nature, each a stand against chaos.
Shamash, you are the sun, justice incarnate. You will cast a wall of light around our world. Let no darkness pass.
Then let there be no shadow. The light of the sun shall burn as armor. None who carry chaos will cross it.
And in the night I will keep watch. The moon shall hold where the sun sleeps. Our shield will never fade.
So rose the first layer, a dome of day and night, sealing the realm in pure light.
You command the tempest. I want the skies to scream. Let thunder and lightning be our warning.
I will summon a storm that tears the very breath from their lungs. Thunder shall speak our fury.
Then I will command the winds of war. Let the storm move like a blade. I will drive it straight through their ranks.
And so the skies turned violent. The second layer raged beyond the light, a storm that would punish before a sword was drawn.
If they survive the sky, let the ground itself betray them.
The mountains will rise, the earth will split. They will find no foothold, only a grave.
And life will fight with us. Roots will strangle, vines will hold. The land itself will refuse them.
The third layer slept beneath their feet, waiting to rise, to crush, to consume.
Let the dead remind them who rules this world. Raise them, let them scream.
They will walk again, not to live, but to hunt and to fight.
I will guide them. I see where the enemy is weakest. The dead will strike with purpose.
And so the fourth layer stirred, ghosts and wails, fear and fate, a shadow army bound by vengeance.
Our warriors will fall, but not for long. You must keep them fighting.
Every wound will be closed. Every breath returned. We will not weaken, we will endure.
And I will hold the line. No harm will reach her. Our warriors will rise again, reborn in every battle.
A layer not of force, but of will. They would not break. They would not die.
If they reach this far, they will find us waiting. Not in fear, not in retreat, but ready.
This is our home. This is where the line ends. If they want it, they'll take it from our ashes.
Then let them come. We are the gods. This realm is ours, and it will not fall.
6 layers: light, storm, earth, death, healing, and heart. The storm was coming. As the gods dispersed, each to their station, each to their sacred task, Marduk remained alone.
She's coming, Tiamat. I can feel her. Not just in the wind, not just in the sky. She's in my thoughts now. She's the shadow in the light, the crack in the stone, the silence before thunder. She's chaos. She doesn't want victory. She wants erasure, to unmake. And yet, I am not afraid. I've seen empires fall. I've watched stars die. But this place, this divine realm, it was built not just by power, but by unity, by vision, by will, and I will not let it be undone.
The first edges of the storm began to creep into view. Not rain, not thunder, but a darkness, ancient and alive.
Let it come. They call me king, god of gods, slayer of Tiamat. But what I am responsible for, every star that still shines, for every soul that still sings, for every god who still dares to hope.
Marduk did not fear the coming storm. He feared what would happen if he didn't stand against it.
Not today, not ever.
The gods were ready. The layer stood firm. The realm held its breath. And at its heart stood one god, unshakable, unyielding. The storm was coming. But so was Marduk. In the deepest chambers of the underworld, where the dead whisper and the air bleeds heat, gathered those who would bring ruin to the divine. A cold, fireless glow filled the chamber. Shadows crawled along the walls. 3 figures stood at the center, Tiamat, Ishtar, and Enlil. Behind them loomed armies, giants, dragons, and monsters. Tiamat stood at the head of the council. Her serpentine form coiled, her eyes gleamed with cunning and wrath. Around her were Uthrog, giant warlord of stone, Drakera, dragon lord, smoke curling from his nostrils, Gorgon, monstrous brute, eyes like burning coals, Ishtar, radiant and ruthless, and Enlil, seething, storm-charged.
The gods believe they are safe. That Marduk's precious defenses, his light, his storms, his sacred earth can hold us back, fools. Marduk hides behind layers, light, storm, soil, spirit. But I have seen them, and I have seen their flaws. We will exploit each one. We will burn the realm of the gods to ash.
Say the word. We'll smash their walls like skulls.
The first layer is light, pure and blinding. But even light can be broken. You will lead the charge, Thrug. With the strength of the giants and the dark power I grant you, you will shatter their sunborn shield.
Their light will fall, and we will march over the rubble and the storm, their tempest.
Yours to command, the dragons were born from the sky's rage. Ride the storm, twist it to our will. Let their thunder strike them down.
We'll become the lightning and burn their skies. Their earth rises against us.
Then poison it, burrow beneath it. Twist it with chaos, let the land betray its makers.
The mountains will rot beneath our feet.
And the dead. They've raised them against us.
Then steal them, you will break their bonds. Turn their dead into our army.
The gods will hear their ancestors scream.
And when we reach the heart,
we strike together, the gods will stand united. And we will tear them apart, limb by limb, soul by soul.
Marduk dies by my hand.
One by one, the layers would fall, and at the center, the gods would face the fury of everything they once cast down. Tiamat rose to her full height, her voice wrapped around every shadow.
This is not a battle, this is reclamation. They stole the cosmos from chaos. Now we take it back.
The storm had begun, and it carried with it the screams of giants, the fire of dragons, the hunger of monsters, and the fury of chaos itself. The heavens, once untouched by shadow, now darkened with dread. The air held still, as though the cosmos itself dared not breathe. Far below, the gods stood watchful at their stations. Light flickered at the edges of Marduk's shield. The storm had not yet begun, but every being could feel it building. And there she was, the first storm, the mother of monsters. Tiamat, wreathed in darkness, crowned in fury, surveyed the layers protecting the divine realm. Her gaze was calculating, cold.
Light, storm, stone, dead. They believe in barriers, but creation is a cage, and I am its end.
She turned to face her gathered generals. Uthrog towered over the others, stone and sinew. Dracora stood with wings folded, eyes aflame. Gorgon breathed in the dark, twitching with rage. Ishtar gleamed like a fallen star. Enlil brooded, charged with lightning.
The time has come. Marduk has cloaked his realm in divine pride. 6 layers of fear, but we are chaos, and there is no wall we cannot undo.
We will break the light. The gods will see darkness once more. Let the skies scream. The storm will be ours. We will infect their sacred ground until it writhes with our rage.
Even the dead will choose chaos when we make them remember who they were.
And when all else falls, we bring the storm to their throne.
Tiamat raised her coils skyward. Shadows pulsed around her like wings of smoke.
Today, we begin again. We break the world. And when the divine are dust, chaos will be king.
The army of chaos began to move. Giants marched, dragons rose, monsters screeched. The sky cracked as Enlil called the first thunder. Tiamat led.
The storm had waited long enough, and now the silence broke.
From the distance, a flicker of divine light responded, Shamash's shield glowing brighter in defiance. At the edge of eternity, order and chaos took their first step toward war. The first blow came like the snap of the cosmos breaking in half. The shield of light, pride of the Wam, faced its reckoning.
Let their holy fire blind me. I'll walk through it and burn their heaven down.
He charged. Behind him, the giants roared. Blows landed like meteor strikes. Cracks formed. The shield screamed.
Light is fragile, and everything fragile breaks.
The final blow landed. The dome shattered. Radiance imploded in silence. The sky bled. The second wall was rage-made sky, a storm called down by gods to break the chaos tide. But chaos remembers the storm. Chaos was born in it.
We do not fight it. We become it.
He dove. His wings sliced through lightning. Fire and storm merged. The dragons twisted the tempest. The storm howled, but now it screamed in the gods' direction.
They forged it as a barrier. We will wield it as a blade.
The storm crashed inward, striking the divine city with fury. Towers cracked. Mountains swayed. The third wall was the world itself, stone and soil, risen in protest. But even the world can decay.
They think stone is forever. Let's show them how fast forever crumbles.
The monsters burrowed and breathed disease. The ground twisted, mountains fell, craters opened. The earth turned against the gods.
They built a kingdom on sacred ground. Let it bury them.
The fourth layer, wailing spirits of the dead, summoned by Ereshkigal and Nanshe, rose in formation. Then they stopped, trembled, turned.
You've served the gods long enough. Now serve yourselves, through me.
The spirits broke formation, their cries twisted from agony to vengeance. They swept forward like a tide of phantoms. What once haunted the enemy now walks beside them.
Even death remembers betrayal.
The fifth wall, meant to mend, was now surrounded by ruin. Gula clutched a dying warrior. Her light flickered. She looked to Zababa.
It's too much. There are too many.
We hold. We protect. That is our oath.
A fresh quake split to the floor. Screams echoed from the outer halls. The wounded began to fade, not from wounds, but from the unraveling world itself. The battlefield no longer allowed for healing, only survival.
What is healing when there is no one left to save?
Zababa, eyes full of rage, slammed his weapon into the ground more in grief than defense. Tiamat watched from the void. The first four layers were in ruin. The fifth flickered like a dying ember.
One layer remains.
Behind her, the legions roared in unison. The gods had not yet fallen, but they were bleeding. Light, storm, stone, spirit, undone. And what comes next is the heart, the gods themselves. The last light of the gods dimmed beneath the sky blackened by betrayal and war. The divine realm, once a beacon of harmony, now stood on the edge of annihilation. At the heart of the ruin, Marduk stood on the final steps of his palace, unmoving, robed in ash and light, surrounded by a dwindling circle of divine defenders. Tiamat led the charge, her vast form coiled in smoke and wrath. Enlil followed, thunder in his eyes. Ishtar strode forward like a flame of vengeance, blade in hand. Behind them were Uthrog, Drakkara, and Gorgon.
It ends here, Marduk. Your light, your realm, your name, all will burn.
We will strike you from the song of creation.
And from your ashes, a new world will rise. One written in blood.
You've torn down the walls. You've walked through the storm. But you've forgotten what lives in the flame. You came for death. Let me show you how it feels.
Marduk lifted his hand. The sky ripped open above him. From the depths of the divine palace, a blazing sphere of black fire erupted. The dark flame blazed, roaring like the soul of a dying star. Born from the first spark of divine collision in Marduk's war against the three gods, Tiamat, Ishtar, and Enlil, the fire had remembered everything. It was not merely flame, but memory incarnate. Every betrayal, every scream, every clash of steel had been etched into its blazing heart. It had burned with purpose, and now it had awakened. The flame howled across the battlefield. The earth trembled beneath its hunger. Ishtar turned, eyes wide, too late. The flame was upon her.
What? What is this?
The fire struck. Her radiant armor liquefied instantly. Flesh turned to glowing fissures. Her eyes burst into light. She screamed, not in fear but in disbelief.
This wasn't fate. I was fate.
Her body twisted in midair, consumed from the inside out. Her scream echoed for miles, then silence. Nothing remained but ash floating like cursed snow. Uthrog charged, roaring. The fire swept through him. His stone body shattered, crumbling to dust. Drakkara soared upward, wings aflame, trying to flee. The blaze caught him mid-flight, his wings disintegrated, and his body dropped like a meteor, vanishing in a flash. Gorgon snarled, clawed the ground, and tried to burrow. The fire ripped through the soil and devoured him whole. His last sound was a guttural choke swallowed by fire. And so the Titans fell, not in combat, but in fire that could not be fought. Tiamat recoiled, coiling her burning form around the blast radius to shield herself. Enlil was caught in the edge of the flame, his storm armor incinerated. His body smoked, bleeding light.
What? What have you done?
You kept this hidden. That flame is not of this world.
The battlefield grew quiet. Ash fell like snow. Marduk lowered his hand. His face was tired, weathered, infinite.
This was never vengeance, only balance.
In the end, fire did what walls could not. It did not defend, it cleansed. The battlefield was silent, save for the crackle of dying flame and the breath of a goddess who refused to die. The fire had struck, and with it, the dream of chaos had turned to ash. She lifted her head, her flesh peeled where the fire had touched. Her eyes burned with agony, rage.
He knew, he waited for us to rise, only to burn us as we touched the sky.
Tiamat, we must go. The fire, it's not just destruction. It's something else.
Marduk stood tall in the distance. Flames swirled around him like a crown of judgment. He did not pursue. Marduk, unmoving, unchallenged. He had won, but he would not follow. The fire did not chase beyond its border. There were rules. Even now, the cosmos remembered balance. Tiamat and Enlil descended into blackness. Their forms flickered. The divine light did not follow. The underworld accepted them, not as victors, not as rulers, but as remnants. A chamber of cold stone and whispering spirits lay still. Shadows slithered across the floor like oil. Tiamat collapsed. Her once golden eyes were now dim. Enlil knelt, coughing blood. The silence was suffocating.
Is this what remains of gods? Broken, burned, hiding in the dark? We were betrayed. This was no victory. It was a trap laid in prophecy.
It wasn't flame. It was fate, born from the clash of our own power, and he used it.
We were not fools. We were gods, and gods do not end, they return.
The flame had burned armies to ash, but not them. Tiamat and Enlil remained scorched, yes, but alive. And in that spark of life, chaos smoldered still.
What now?
We recover, we rebuild, and next time, we burn him.
The divine realm was spared, but peace is illusion, for in the shadows, vengeance waits. The fire that saved the gods did not die when the battle ended. It lingered, an ancient hunger bound only to the will of its master.
This is not victory. This is the cost of choosing to survive.
He lifted his hand. The flames began to coil inward, spiraling down into the scorched earth. The fire obeyed no law. It answered no god. It was born from the collision of chaos and order, and lived only to obey the will that summoned it. The surviving gods gathered, bruised, limping, silent. The glow of the divine realm had faded, flickering like a dying star.
The fire saved us, but it burned our future to save our lives.
The light may be dim, but it is not gone.
The fire was never meant to save anything, only to stop what could not be stopped. Tiamat still breathes, Enlil still curses, and chaos still waits. The divine realm will be rebuilt, stone by stone, light by light. But we must prepare. Sleep now, but not forever.
The earth pulsed faintly beneath his touch. The fire settled like a sleeping dragon in the deep. The war was not over. The realm was not healed. But in the fire's wake, something had been born. A silence that remembered pain, a light that knew loss, and a fire that would burn again. The battle had ended. The fire had withdrawn. But the cosmos, once seamless, now trembled under the strain of what had been unleashed.
We are not whole. Not anymore. Order cannot coexist with chaos in a single sky. Not without tearing itself apart.
Marduk summoned the full force of his power. The sky itself fractured like glass. Energy streamed outward. Light, time, space, divine essence. And so, the supreme God did what no being had done before. He divided reality.
A kingdom for the gods, untouchable, eternal. A realm for the fragile, sheltered, unaware, and a prison for the wrath that could not be destroyed.
Tiamat lay in shadow, coiled, her eyes burning. The walls crackled with her fury. Enlil was barely visible, scarred and silent.
He thinks he's caged me. He thinks this place can contain what I am.
As the worlds separate, a rift briefly opens. Chaos leaks through. In the final second, she reached, and the fracture became her salvation. Demons crawled from the rift into the mortal world, screeching, their eyes glowing. Giants stomped through, the ground quaked. Dragons unfurled their wings and vanished into thunder. Witches slipped through in silence, their faces hidden beneath shadowed hoods. Monsters emerged, twisted, primal. howling. Tiamat tried to pull herself through, roaring in pain. The rift seared her form. Her hand reached, but failed.
I am not done.
The rift closed. She collapsed inside the underworld, her body scorched by its own escape attempt. The worlds were divided, but not sealed, and through the breach, chaos had found new soil. Marduk stared at a new star, one that flickered red.
You created 3 worlds, but now there are 4. This one, the breach, it lives in all of them.
Then we must watch always.
Let them think they've won. Let them worship peace. We've planted the seeds. And one day, we will bloom.
The cosmos had changed. Where once gods, mortals, and monsters walked a single plane, there now stood 3 divided realms: heaven, earth, and the underworld.
We bought peace with division, but division is never clean. It always leaves a crack.
The mortal world, unaware of the cosmic war that reshaped it, now trembled under a new shadow. Tiamat's escaped children, demons, giants, dragons, witches, sowed fear and ruin.
I have no throne in the stars, but I will have their screams.
Knowing peace could never last, Marduk sought a new creation. One born of balance, forged from fire and ice. He envisioned a being that was neither god nor mortal, something wholly unique, forged to stand as a shield for humanity against the might of other races. A living embodiment of universal balance. Marduk raised his hand, ancient glacial ice lifted and swirled.
The fire was too wild, the cold too still. Together, they will become something new.
Marduk summoned the dark flame blaze. The fire roared as it met the Kailash ice. The room glowed with violent light. From this fusion, a form emerged. Ira, tall, radiant, balanced, eyes of ember, skin of steel.
You are Ira, my son, my sword, the fire and the frost bound.
Ira opened his eyes. The black iron horse was forged from the same elemental essence that gave birth to Ira. Its hooves blazed with flame, its mane shimmered like obsidian, and its breath carried both frost and fire. A mount to match the strength of its rider, a creature of fury and focus, loyal only to Ira. Marduk forged the Blaze Frost celestial sword, its core infused with both fire and ice. The weapon hummed with dormant power. When Ira gripped the hilt, the blade flared to life with a cold, radiant light.
This sword is your balance. Its fire will sleep until you are ready to wield it. There is no peace without protectors. No justice without strength.
Ira mounted the black iron horse. Together they rode into the cosmos, sword slung across his back, a trail of frost swirling in their wake. The fire sleeps, the cold guides, and the protector rides. Heaven and hell were born from war, but balance rides alone.